Köszöntöm minden kedves nézőnket ezúttal a Côte d'Azurről, ahol Cagnes-sur-Mer volt a helyszíne. A natur erős emberek világbajnokságának még.
That's the thing when you're in Nice, France, is that absolutely no one speaks English, and that is literally all you hear everywhere you go is 5 different languages and a bunch of different dialects in this gorgeous place. This is, for you, JD, the 5-year anniversary of our World Natural Strongman trip to Nice, France. This is a little bit of that IRONMILL real talk. We have one chance to get it out here, and I thought it'd be fun to do commentary on a show that's been kind of buried, and I don't know how we came across the footage. Facebook brought it up, so I feel like it needed documented. We had a great time, and it was this great vacation. We had qualified the year before and went to Hungary, and that was sort of this tedious trip. And, you know, Nice, France, look at those two fellas. Just hard fellas. And so this trip, the year afterwards, you know, Hungary the year before, we went out, me and Andy Deck were a team, and John had his own team out there, middle of nowhere. This was like vacation. This was amazing. And so, right, they had us line up, and we were there for 3 or 4 days, and we came out to these media events where we were lining up behind palm trees, and you can tell each one of the groups of guys, the teams, they were absolutely hilarious. These guys were, I mean, the Romanians right there, they look like Romanians. All they did was smile the whole time. The Poles, I mean, it looked like Marius right there, the one guy. And then, of course, the Hungarian teams. There was like 3 teams of brothers, all the way from Laszlo, Fediki, who competed with Kazmaier. If you look at through those old videos of the 70s World's Strongest Man, the guy who was running this, Laszlo Fediki, was a world, look at him, exactly like Marius, that guy looks like. Was a world-class strongman, Laszlo was, back in the day, and he still is, he's still competing. And so we qualified, he came to the Cleveland Strongest Man the year before this, on our soil, and he competed right along with everybody. A few questionable strongman practices involved, but I mean, they do it differently in Europe. And obviously, if you can see, we get treated like rock stars. It was a pretty unbelievable trip as far as a strongman standpoint, and it was heavy. You can see from the stones right there. The last stone was, you know, close to 450 pounds. They had a good setup. You know, it was a tag team style. They was ripping into that 300-pound, 330 stone. I was surprised. Those were the Sweden guys, and they were really, really strong for not being big guys. I mean, it's a craft over there to these guys, and it's pretty amazing their techniques on stuff and how they use their body a lot more in leverage positions than most of Americans do. We're just super strong. I mean, me and John, we were definitely the 2 biggest guys there. I think John was 300 pounds, 330 pounds. I was 300 pounds. I felt like we were in a different league than these guys coming in, but it was their home turf, and we had been there for a week of eating France, like weird cheeses and yogurts, and there's John loading the stone. Yeah. Who celebrates like asshole Americans like we do over there, but we were excited, and we definitely won stones, and I'll bring that up to this little commentary here, but we kept losing. You can see how heavy it was right there. It was a 450-pound stone, almost crushed the kid. So this guy's name was John, I think his teammate, just really strong the whole time. Unbelievable guys. And there's John loading the stone. There's only 2 teams to load that last stone. And we were definitely the fastest, but home court advantage, I don't know, you know, is what it is. So we were in this Hyperdom. It was they were warming up for one of their biggest races, these kart races, huge over there in Nice, France, and we were the main show of that, which is insane. And so this was event number 2. It started to get really packed. There was a bunch of people, all the local news and stuff. It was exciting. This tire was, I think, 800 or 900 pounds. Hard, you know, the treads on it had been sitting out in the sun all day, and it was like a perfect 75 degrees, but so we can't complain compared to Hungary the year before, which was unseasonably warm and a miserable all-around trip. This was much better. Same guys. So weird that this was almost the same exact groups of teams that were there the year before, and so we developed a camaraderie with these guys. So this is Adam. And he was some of the smaller guys, probably just over 200 pounds. This is a 1,200-pound tire. What no one understands, this thing's like famous over there in Europe. It's got no tire, no tread, and you can see it falls on him. We were all like, ugh, that's the first person to go. Hard. You can see how hard it is just to lift that thing. So it's a legit 1,200-pound steel ribbon tire with no tread on it. And Laszlo has the exact perfect technique on it because it's his tire. But if you're new over there, that thing is hard. And I was nervous. Me and John were both nervous because we had bicep issues. And so this is just John motoring through this 900-pound tire. There was people in the crowd just going, oh my goodness. They'd never seen just such big, giant gorilla Americans. And I was nervous on this tire. I was super. You can see me actually shortchange the tire there and almost fall underneath of it. Push it around, and at that point I was exhausted because it's legit 1,200 pounds. Hard as hell, too. And so here it gets stuck on me. But the adrenaline was going because we were nervous. I mean, I was just, one, it's the heaviest tire I'd ever flipped. Two, those people, you're on television, everybody's watching, the guy before you had just fallen. Yeah, so I knew we'd won the event, but I knew we had lost some time on it right there. You can see just some really hard technique, and that's just grinding through. That's that's brutal to watch, actually. So we were in third there. Weirdly enough, we kept losing by 1 or 2 seconds, which me and John were super. We were timing each other, and we were super on point, and we knew. I don't know how their point systems were super intricate and weird, and we weren't sure of how it was. So, and like I said, no one spoke English. It was just absolutely zero English spoken anywhere, and it was hard trying to decipher when you're going and how much time we had, and we always felt like a nuisance. But the other teams really helped us out, especially the guys from England and the Sweden guys. Just turned in great guys and turned into awesome friendships. But so we were kind of in it together because they felt the same thing we felt, kind of go over there in the Lions territory, the Hungarians and their special equipment. It's kind of like lore over there, but it's true. But it's fun too, so we don't care. They paid us to be there, so who the hell cares? It was a fantastic time. And, we had every chance to win as everybody else did. We left a lot out there on the table. They're doing a good job recapping here. That was the team that won. His son, that's Laszlo's son with the long flowing hair. He had 2 teams of sons that were both really strong, in their own rights. And so these made these brutal suitcases that had this really gnarly knurling on it. It was super deep. It dug into your hands. It was terrible. And you can tell these guys are having a little bit of issue with it. But just how dense these suitcases were. They were all of the weight plus some because it was just the most hard. It was banging off your thighs. You couldn't set them down at all on your feet because they were literally, dangerous. You can see them slipping there. So me and John, we thought we had won both those first 2 events. We were pissed. John was actually yelling at the refs. I've never seen him all heated like that for being such a, easy guy. So me and him had something to prove here, and he motored through that. And I do my thing, which is I think I'm some of the best in the world at farmers carries, hands down. And those are 340 or whatever. It didn't feel heavy to me, and the awkwardness of it was all it was. And I know for a fact we'd won this event. But didn't come out that way. And the score sheets is what it is. And it was heavy. And so this is another one of Laszlo's sons. He had won with him the year before. And you got to give him credit for not being a big guy. These guys were handling some massive weights and really impressive techniques on some stuff. So, as far as strongman being a sport, people say it's backyard Billy's barbecue here in America. It may be that way, but in Europe they really treat it as there's a technicality to it, and you can learn a lot from listening to those guys too. So, which we did. It was fun talking shop and kind of seeing their grips. And the bottom line is this stuff is just heavy. It's just hard, and so that's we train heavy over here, where we have the bodies to do it. I'm not saying we're bigger than they are, but we are. We have different ways to train. Bottom line, we actually wrote an article on it. On IRONMILL, if you look, it's called Great Britain versus America, the way we train. So there, yeah. So we knew we had won basically 3 events. They had to put us in first because the crowd would have started getting confused by then. And so this was this brutal duck walk, which me and John were both worried about. You couldn't set it down once. You could only set it down once, or you're disqualified, which was weird. And then right into this 980-pound yoke, which was, here's what I was, I had it set beforehand. At this point, I thought I was one of the best in the world, let alone the natural strongman world. I can compete with yoke with anybody. Me and Jenkins taught me yoke. So, we taught each other like yoke. And so here, I don't know if I didn't reset it, but it was an inch taller from the guy before me, and I forgot to reset it, whether it be the adrenaline of whatever, knowing that if we win this event, you know, my best event, the one we were looking forward to, that it was over. And there you can see, man, it slipped off, it caught. They got a picture of me looking just dumbfounded, knowing we blew an opportunity just to win it and blow the whole show out of the water right there. I had either forgotten or gotten too, you know, pumped up to tell them to readjust the setting, and, you know, you had one drop on a 980 yoke on the weirdest bar I've ever seen in my life. So it is what it is, you know, opportunity wasted. And so me and John knew this was probably our worst event, these power stairs, and they were just ungodly heavy. This must be a European specialty over there. They love ending with them. But, you know, John, who was 6'5", 6'4", having, you know, a little bit of an issue getting his up there. Me, I'm not that tall at all, and it was brutal. I'm getting stuck in the middle of this. I think I actually fall off at the end here. Yeah, right. It's right in the middle of everybody, knowing that we were, you know, we'd probably lost at this point. We were a long shot. And then having these Swedish guys do this little hip techniques, it's right there, you can see him swing it. Amazing technique. And once I saw that, I was like, we were just trying to brute force trap pull 500 pounds. It just wasn't going to happen. And so they had that little dip technique, and they won the event, actually, which was, I think, super shocking to everybody. And you can see how excited everybody was. It was a pretty exciting atmosphere. And their showmen, too, the Swedes, they took his shirt off and flexed for the crowd, and they loved it. The crowd was really into the strongman over here. It's unbelievable how the fandom is compared to America. They really love it. And so we had, you know, all these different sponsors, and every polo we have, they made us wear them. So nothing like being the sweatiest strongman on earth with a sweaty, disgusting polo that feels weird sticking to you. And the people actually wanted us to give them to them. It was a weird experience where little girls were like, "Give me your sweaty polo." And so John will tell you, I would take my shirt off and be like, "Listen, man, if you want it," and they were like, "Yeah." They would hold it up, and we'd take pictures, and it was fun. It was pretty amazing. So that was their final score tally. Somehow, this was only worth 9 points, but if you look at through the history of these events while I was jabbering on, the point systems changed each event. It was super strange. It doesn't matter. We left the opportunity, a lot of opportunities out there. And we all watched. We pulled a big giant truck down the middle of the roller horse festival they had going there with the carts. And so this is just some of the pictures of probably the best vacation ever. Here's one of the fans who just like wanted to touch sweaty strawman and John winning stones. And look at his eyes, bloodshot eyes. 450 stone right in the middle of that atmosphere. It was pretty cool. Oh yeah. What a good time. As always, it's the camaraderie that means something when you're there, and that's all that matters, to get to hang out in France with the hardest looking fellas on earth. Hey, love it or leave it, man. That's just the Iron Mill Real Talk, one take. Check out LukeCosta.com if you want to hear more of this diatribe rambling. A lot of motivational stuff on there. Hey, as always, we love you. Stay strong.